Hello, everybody, and welcome to another EBTV sports presentation. Tonight from East Brunswick High School Gymnasium, it is boys basketball as East Brunswick takes on Perth Amboy in a Greater Middlesex Conference Red Division game. This is Jimmy Allinder being joined once again by Megan O'Neill. And Megan, we have seen East Brunswick when they're at the top of their game, and you'd agree that they can beat almost any team in the GMC when they play that way. But then we saw them against a team like Edison a couple weeks ago, and they lost that game to a rather subpar team. So that's when they're not on their game. The question I have for you, if East Brunswick plays tonight the way they did against Edison, can this Perth Amboy team that they're playing beat them?
This is definitely going to be a tough matchup for both teams, and if Perth Amboy comes tonight and plays their top game, East Brunswick can't afford to play the game that they played against Edison. But I also think that East Brunswick they played a really good game against Piscataway, their last game. They're coming into this game with confidence. If they play well, they know that they can beat any team in the Red Division, in the GMC. So I really think for East Brunswick, it's up to them to come and bring their game, play good defense, be confident, and no matter what, it's going to be a good game tonight. You know, you can't walk into any game and think that you can play bad and still win.
A lot of ifs in that long statement of yours, and Perth Amboy with a 5-12 record. I talked to John Bazurek, the Perth Amboy coach, before the game, and he says that scoring has been an issue for them. They're an up-tempo team by nature, and they have a leading scorer, I think it's Jamar McGridney, who's averaging 18 points a game, but they're going to need it from other players. Where is East Brunswick getting its scoring in the last couple of games?
East Brunswick has gotten solid play from Tommy Gatziella throughout the season. John Byrne, also good offensive player. Really, they like to spread out the ball too. Mike Wagenblast inside. They need everyone to score. They don't have like a top scorer that they can like really get on the back of and let them carry. So really, for East Brunswick, it's going to have to be an all-around effort. But Perth Amboy does have great guard play, so East Brunswick is going to need to look to shut that down, shut down the run. And with these two teams, it's always like a rivalry between Perth Amboy and East Brunswick. And when I was talking to Coach Henning before the game, you know, he says Perth Amboy tends to bring their best game when they come to play East Brunswick. So it's definitely going to be a tough one for East Brunswick tonight.
That's funny because John Mazurek says, I don't think we've won in East Brunswick in the last 10 years, even with our good teams. So a lot of jockeying going on before the game between with each coaches, and it is going to be a good game, as Megan says. So we're going to take a break now, and we'll be back with the tip-off right after this. All right, we are back at East Brunswick High School, where you see Perth Amboy on the court, getting ready to start this game. Jumping center is Jamar Bridgeforth for Perth Amboy. And Coach Henning with his team in the huddle for an extended period of time. Figured they'd be out on the court already, Megan, but...
They'll be out in a second.
Oh, yeah.
Couple last-minute things.
Mm-hmm. So we expect a fast-paced game here. Again, it's hard to believe that Perth Amboy is 5-12. Can't remember that many losses for a Perth Amboy team.
I think that they've had a lot of close games too, so it doesn't really necessarily reflect completely, you know, how talented their team is. Just, you know, they've lost a lot of close games.
And Lamont McGibney, averaging 18 points a game for Perth Amboy, is sporting the longest shorts I've seen all year. And he with the ball. We are underway here. That is number 23, Joseph Muniz.
We see the Bears matching up man-to-man.
And look at Amboy spread the court. Muniz fakes once. With it is Gaziella. And McCluskey, the field general for East Brunswick, has an open look.
Perth Amboy that time setting up in a 3-2 zone. Jimmy McCluskey wide open for that three, just couldn't knock it down.
And I think that's what Amboy would like East Brunswick to do, is just to test that outside shot and make them adjust. Now Bridgeforth is a tall player, but you can see his dribbling ability.
Perth Amboy showing a lot of quickness on their first step.
McGibney going to drive.
And we're going to see a lot of that tonight. Perth Amboy players looking to take their man one-on-one, get to the basket, and this time get the foul.
So McGivney draws the shooting foul. No, does he? Yes, he will. He will go to the line. Coach Henning's not too pleased that that was a shooting foul. He thought it was in continuation. That foul was charged to Byrne, his first. And McGivney 1 for 2, and Amboy takes a 1-0 lead. Just underway here at East Brunswick High School. East Brunswick beat Perth Amboy in overtime the first time these two teams met. Again, that's the outside shot. Won't go again.
And Perth Amboy running a motion offense, running 2 people off of a screen.
Welch with it for the Panthers.
And we're seeing East Brunswick really giving the person with the ball a little bit of space, luffing off, trying to contain more so than like deny the passes and be aggressive.
A shot by Munoz doesn't go. East Brunswick with the rebound, McCluskey.
And it really seems like Perth Amboy is trying to get out on the shooters of East Brunswick. Can't seem to knock it down.
3 missed outside shots by East Brunswick. They have yet to get on the board. We have 5:49 left to go. There's McGivney. Nettie comes down with the rebound. Gaziella out 3-point shot. Bears cold to begin this game.
So far, East Brunswick cold from the outside.
Munoz drives. Gaziella wants to push it ahead.
And we can see this is going to be a fast-paced game. The teams are getting up and down the court, taking quick shots.
Shot off the rim will not go. That's an offensive foul.
Great job by Mike Wagenblast to get his feet in front of the man driving and just really sacrifice his body to get that charge.
Yeah. So the Bears, with 5:12 left to go in the first quarter, have yet to score. Amboy only has 1 point. So we have a low-scoring game.
A lot of shots, not a lot of makes so far.
That can't last, though. East Brunswick, too good of a shooting team. Wagenblast gets inside. And Bridgeforth, nice defense. Both teams sort of testing each other. They try to screen for McGivney. Gives to Bridgeforth underneath and puts it home. So it is 3-0 Perth Amboy.
Again, East Brunswick going to try and work against this 3-2 zone.
Megan, Wagenblast has a nice little matchup underneath. I'm wondering if East Brunswick might want to try to exploit that.
Definitely against any zone, it's important to have inside-outside play. They need to get the ball inside, get easy shots, and then also, once you can do that, you're going to be wide open for your outside shots, and they'll be able to, concentrate, take their time, and really knock those down. The important thing is not to just settle for outside shots against the zone. You have to get the ball inside.
Under 4 minutes to go in the quarter, and East Brunswick is not on the board. That one's way off. And Byrne to the middle of the floor.
East Brunswick needs to try and exploit the gaps. You can see against a 3-2 zone, really, it's important to have high-low play. They need to get the ball into the high post, and we'll open up the low post because the weakness is really down on towards the blocks of this zone.
So the foul on the play is by Welch, who picks up his first. That's only the team's second. There's a nice give and go. And Gaziella gets the first 2 points for East Brunswick.
Perfect pass by John Byrne there, too. Great placement.
It's a fast-moving first quarter. Hasn't been a lot of whistles. Hasn't been a lot of points. Bridgeforth wants to put it up. Byrne to the middle, nice bounce pass inside, draws the foul.
Great transition, way to push the ball up by John Byrne and then find Mike Wagenblast with that bounce pass.
And Wagenblast will go to the line on the shooting foul. I believe that was charged to Bridgeforth. Nope, check that. That's Santiago, his second. That shot off the rim. Santiago, with his second foul in this first period, takes a seat. And Wagenblast makes the second. And we are tied. Threes are wild. 3 minutes to go, tied at 3.
John Byrne matched up against Perth Amboy's leading scorer. You can really see John Byrne's trying to deny him the ball, keep the ball out of his hands, not let him get any opportunities to score. The other East Brunswick players kind of sloughing off, just trying to contain.
Cross-court pass, it's picked off by Byrne. Fakes the pass and puts it in himself. Nice shot.
Great job by John Byrne. Perfect. You keep going to the basket until someone steps up and stops you, and he really made a great fake and able to finish the easy layup.
And the Bears have their first lead of the evening with 2:25 left to go in period 1. To the hoop, Bridgeforth won't go.
We haven't seen a lot of offensive rebounding yet this game. It seems like neither team is really blocking out, but not really crashing the boards hard offensively.
Byrne took a little shuttle step.
It's a good idea, though, trying to penetrate the zone. You need to look to get inside, and he did a good job of looking to, create something.
All right, substitutions for East Brunswick. Goloszewski in, Eckert in, as well as who else? I think I saw somebody else sneak in there. McLaughlin. So under 2 minutes to play, the score 5-3 East Brunswick. McGibney, Eckert, who's been a steady performer for East Brunswick.
He does a nice job inside for the Bears, rebounding. He's a solid player.
And we have a little girth inside for Amboy in the form of number 32. That's Jeff Gums.
Bears right now looking to have opposite cutters.
A lot of talking going on. Eckert wants to drive, puts it up off the board, won't go. However, rebound, that won't go. Second rebound, very nicely done.
Way to stick with it there. Go and get that easy offensive board. And like you said, he really exploited. No one boxed him out. No one even attempted to. He's able to get the easy points.
That was Goloszewski to extend East Brunswick's lead to 4, under a minute to play. An off-balance shot goes in by Jefferson to make it 7-5. East Brunswick. Byrne immediately shoots. And here come the Panthers. McGibney back out to Munoz. He's going to take the long one. He hits. That's a three-pointer.
Great penetration and kick by McGibney.
And Amboy back on top.
Such a quick-paced game that it's so easy. The score is going to swing.
You would think, Megan, yeah. Looks like the Bears want to hold for one. Shot on the outside won't go, and they back off. And at the end of 1 quarter of play, it is Perth Amboy holding on to an 8-7 lead. Not a lot of scoring, Megan, and I don't know, you think that's going to last?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
East Brunswick was so cold from the outside. I think that won't continue for the rest of the game. And in such a quick-paced game, one of these, one if not both of these teams are going to kind of take off.
Okay, we have Bo Henning mic'd up, so we're going to listen in on his huddle.
When we're in 2 guard, right? We're going to run a lot of Seton Hall, too, okay? Now, in 2 guard, start there and ball's away from you, flash in there. Catch it, turn and look opposite, right? For spit outs at different angles. Okay? What's that? Yeah. All right. Seton Hall now.
Outside man coming for the screen.
3-5-4, right? 1-2. Now, ball's here, let's say. In the air, screen in, he's out, look for the ball. Right in there, look for the ball. Would you be more comfortable out front and move John inside on that? All right, let's do that, John, all right? Let's go.
Come on, bro.
And we can hear there Bo Henning talking to his team about offensively how to play against the zone, different ways that you can screen the zone, different places that you can look for openings, and really just talking to the players about looking opposite, finding the openings, cutting towards the middle, and really creating something. The thing that you don't want to do is settle for the shots that they're giving you. Those are the shots that they want you to take. You want to try and get easier looks.
Okay. Underway in the second period of play. Polishevsky holding onto the ball. Bounce pass inside to McLaughlin. Turns around, hits it.
McLaughlin screened the zone, opened up. A lot of times against the zone, when you screen them, they're going to jump to the outside, and he was wide open right in the middle of the key.
So East Brunswick with a 1-point lead. Unos shown he can hit that outside shot.
And he seems aggressive at taking it, too, if he gets an open look.
Jefferson dribbling with the ball. There he goes. Wow. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, he just decides to shoot it after running a rather patient offense.
John Byrne in the corner looking for the opposite. He's got wide open underneath the basket.
There it is. Eckert decided to drive and draws the foul.
Great decision right there by Eckert. He was wide open underneath the basket, but he could tell John Byrne wasn't going to be able to get him the ball, so he decided to flash to the high post. Good job. A lot of players would just stand there and be like, I'm wide open, pass me the ball, but if there's no passing lane, it's impossible. There's no point in being open, so good job by Eckert to be an active offensive player there.
The foul being charged to McGibney, his first, team's fourth. Byrne from the outside and once more, and that'll be a 3-point foul shooting for Byrne. I don't know how to say that. A 3-shot foul, whatever. Johnny's going to go to the line, and he averaging 14.5 points per game. And he makes his first.
John Byrne, one of the most consistent offensive players for the Bears this whole season. Really one of the leaders on the team. Most of the time, they want the ball in his hands. He's a great offensive threat. He has great leaping ability, great pull-up jump shot, so he can create his own shot.
And he is a streak shooter to the point where he can carry a team when he's on. And makes all 3.
And he's also one of the Bears' best defenders. You know, a lot of times we'll see him matched up against the best player on the other team, just like tonight.
So 6:48 left to go in the first half. East Brunswick with a 4-point lead.
And we're going to see the Bears in their 1-3-1 defense.
Strong pass inside, however, goes through the hands of Gabriel Serrano, who's in the game for the first time. They had the right idea, it just did not connect.
It was a good look. It was a tough pass, tough catch.
Now East Brunswick needs to take advantage of these opportunities.
And we see them again looking to screen the zone, pop to the middle.
There's Gaziella. Nice pass.
Great bounce pass. That was executed to perfection right there. They're screening the bottom of the zone and really just opening up the weakest area.
Yeah, that all started, though, with that pass from into the middle to Eckert.
Oh, definitely.
Kind of a way. That was not a good shot by Perth Amboy, but they're known for that.
Absolutely. They're going to shoot it. They're going to try and run.
And Amboy immediately calls timeout after that.
And right now we see the Bears showing great composure.
I just drew a blank on who scored. Was that McCluskey? You know what? I was looking at the Perth Amboy
Eckert
coach.
Put it in.
That's right. It was Eric. You're right. I had a momentary lapse, but Perth Amboy calls a timeout, and the score being 16-8, just like that, East Brunswick comes out and scores the first. We'll see. They were down what, 8-7 after the end of Yeah, okay.
And really what the biggest difference I think has been so far is that they've really been setting screens against the zone, and after they screen, they're popping to the middle, and that's when the flash has been open. So they've been able to get the ball down low and really like exploit the weakness of this 3-2 zone down on the blocks.
And that's exactly what Henning was pointing to in between periods, made those adjustments, and the offense much more fluid for the Bears.
Perth Amboy at the same time has not really responded at all to this 1-3-1 defense that the Bears have thrown at them. You know, they had one opening opposite, ended up turning the ball over, and then really just taking, you know, ill-advised shots.
So McGibney, the leading scorer, with just a single point. And you figure if Amboy's going to take these long shots, he ought to be the one that does it. He went down momentarily. I thought he turned an ankle.
Great job by the Bears having their hands up, getting in the passing lane. And we're going to see right now Perth Amboy come out in a 1-3-1 defense.
Right.
See what the Bears can do against it.
I tell you what, I'd work it in underneath on a 1-3-1.
Certainly. Really, the openings are opposite. You need to find the open spot and look to the opposite.
There you go. There you go.
Great job.
pass by
Eric,
Gaziella to underneath to Eckert.
Absolutely. Eric, so far, Eckert, I mean, has been totally doing a great job of finding the open spots, getting the easy shots.
And what you're seeing, Megan, is really just a surgical procedure going on here by East Brunswick.
It seems like East Brunswick is all over the place defensively right now.
Yeah, and the only reason why Amboy's going to go to the line is that Gums just decided to just take a wild shot. It looks like they're all out of sync, and that's probably due to what East Brunswick just playing excellent defense and great passing underneath for open shots.
Absolutely, just showing great patience offensively, finding the openings, getting easy shots. And Perth Amboy right now really looks like they're in disarray and, you know, just can't seem to figure out the zone and just kind of like, well, we know from the beginning they're an up-tempo team. They want to run the ball. They want to take the ball one-on-one. And, you know, I'm sure they're not anxious to play against the zone. They would rather have man-to-man where they can just go and take the ball one-on-one.
So Gums will have another. Score is 18-9. Misses the second.
Jimmy McCluskey out of the game, so John Burns going to play the point for East Brunswick. It looks like Perth Amboy is matching up man-to-man now.
Yeah. We're going to say that was a nice block there, but again, East Brunswick had an open lane. I'm not sure I would have ever said this, but it appears that East Brunswick has the advantage in the speed department tonight.
Perth Amboy definitely has a lot of like athletes. They're just not as organized as East Brunswick.
Yeah. Gaziella
Stepping back for the three.
won't go, but he had to take it. I mean, nobody was near him.
Absolutely, he should have stepped towards the basket though. I mean, you want the three-pointer if you can get it, but you should never really step back for it.
McGibney way off. And they're going to call that foul against Goloszewski. That's the third team foul for East Brunswick. Amboy inbounds. McGibney wants to drive. He's short again. And gets his rebound. Up and down, I thought. Bridgeforth. And that was just a matter of using his height to get the rebound.
Absolutely, but in that case, you know, the Bears really need to hit the boards and box out.
Nettie will pick up his first foul, the team's fourth, as Bridgeforth goes to the line. Will not go. Makes the second.
And we're going to see some full court pressure by Perth Amboy.
They get it across to Gaziella. For a moment, Wagon Blast was open. Nettie's going to take it. He hits.
Great job by Jimmy McCluskey cutting through the middle of the floor and finding the open man.
I mean, yeah, East Brunswick is just executing its offense.
It's really the passing, I think, so far that has really, you know, made their offense easier. They're making great passes. They're making good cuts. Tommy Gaziella.
They got a 2-on-1 if they want it. Oh, Byrne misses the chippy. And down with it comes McGibney. He puts it up, and it finds its way into the hoop. And makes the score 20-12 as Henning wants a timeout.
Bo Henning just not happy with that play. That should have been an easy 2.
Yeah.
And instead, it goes the other way.
All right, let's listen in on him.
Do that. Tommy, great pass there. Use the backboard, right? All right, one thing that we may have to do against their 2-2-1, you may have to run a 1-2 exchange if they deny the inbounds. Where does the guy who does not get the ball go? Second base, right? Cuts through the middle. Well, all right. And way up court, right? All right, let's go. Come on. Let it go, John.
Imploring John Byrne on that missed, shot.
It was a great pass by Tommy Gaziella. And, unfortunately, it didn't work out for the Bears. But right now, at the same time, it's in the middle of the game. You can't dwell on anything. You have to move on, look for the next play.
And East Brunswick does have an 8-point lead.
Perth Amboy showing a 2-2-1 press, looking to trap as soon as the Bears get over half court.
Yeah, Gaziella did a nice job. He gets hammered by Bridgeforth.
Jimmy McCluskey's used to that from his football experience, so he'll be okay.
Yeah, if you think you're going to intimidate Jimmy McCluskey by physical force, it's not going to happen. Oops. All right, great job by McCluskey to recover. I thought that was going out of bounds.
Yeah, that really was not a great pass on the inbounds, but Bears still have the ball. And we see Perth Amboy just smothering the ball right now with John Byrne.
Yeah, that's going to create some openings like this.
Mike Wagenbus always does a great job when he catches the ball at the high post, looking to the basket and really just using his body to protect the ball.
Megan, I maintain that East Brunswick's team speed is something that Amboy cannot stay with. They're getting too many open shots underneath, besides the passing.
Great hustle by John Byrne. And the Bears sticking with this 1-3-1 defense. So far, they've been in the passing lanes, they've had their hands up. It's really caused some trouble for Perth Amboy.
2:22 remaining in the first half of play. East Brunswick with a 10-point lead. And just like John Mazurek said, Perth Amboy having its problems putting points on the board. There's a foul.
So far, we really haven't seen too much from McGibney, who's Perth Amboy's top scorer, and really they need to look for him.
Now, they say that Wagenblass has 1 foul. I thought he had 2. McGibney's going to take it in. Nope, tapped away.
Good recovery.
That's Jefferson in the corner, wants to put it up. McGibney, he hits it. 22-14.
And again, we see the full court pressure from Perth Amboy.
Now, so far, East Brunswick has been successful in breaking this.
You got to be careful about where you catch the ball. You don't want to catch it too close to the half court line because then that accesses another defender.
Stolen by McGibney. And unfortunately, McCluskey could not touch the ball because he was out of bounds. But he could have come in bounds, right?
Has to have both feet in bounds. I think the ball was already too far out.
So each player does a nice job of stripping the ball from one another.
And it allows Jimmy McCluskey there, allows East Brunswick to get set up in their defense.
Munoz from outside won't go. And I believe Bridgeport had position.
And really, the biggest thing when you're playing a zone is to box out and go and get those rebounds. Tommy Gaziella there with a tough job because he's playing the wing, but got to find a way to get down there and get a body on the opposite block.
East Brunswick with 16 fouls, each foul by 1 player. That's short. Nettie bounces around one more time. Whoops. Why they did not call that Palman, I don't know.
I think it's because he hadn't dribbled before. It's not really a carry because the ball's still in the air.
Okay. Under a minute to play. Amboy trying to get back in this game.
And he's going to get called for the travel there.
Now, I would not be surprised if East Brunswick tries to hold the ball for one.
Definitely, you don't want to take, you don't want to force up any shots. You want to really get a good score here. Right now, really, East Brunswick wants to look to go right over these 4 men. They're playing up so high.
Yep. Byrne goes strong. Won't go. Wagon Blast.
East Brunswick really tonight not finishing a lot on the inside, missing some easy layups.
Foul. I believe that's by Byrne.
He's going to put Perth Amboy into the 1-on-1.
Yeah. It's not what East Brunswick wanted at this late juncture of the half. John picks up his second foul. McGibney, who has 5 points to lead the way for Perth Amboy, makes the first. Good on the second, and it's a 6-point game. Panthers with pressure.
Perth Amboy really just chipping away at this lead right now.
Gadziella gets across court.
The half winding down. The Bears want to get a good shot, score, go into the locker room with some confidence.
Down to 15 seconds.
And we're going to see Perth Amboy's matched up man-to-man.
4 seconds. Klusky's going to throw it up. And although Gadziella got the rebound, put it in, it was too late. So the half will end with the score 22-16. Well, Megan O'Neill, East Brunswick started out rather slow. They didn't get on the board until with about, I guess, 3.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter of play. And then Amboy had its own problems scoring, and then East Brunswick had a nice streak where they actually took, I think, a 12-point lead. But Perth Amboy, in the late going, was able to bring it down to the 6-point margin that you see right now. But I don't know, it looks like East Brunswick's doing what it wants to.
It really looked like, I thought, when the guys came off the bench, like Eckert did a great job of finding the openings, and really the Bears starting lineup, I thought, in the first half didn't show as much confidence against the zone as some of the guys who came off the bench. They were really able to find the openings and get easy shots. So I think that's when the Bears look the best, definitely. And, you know, right now, 6-point game, it could be anyone's game. And Perth Amboy, I don't think we've really seen them go on a scoring streak yet. They like to play up tempo. You know, obviously a team that can score a lot of points quickly.
All right. So the score is 22-16 at halftime. We're going to take a break and be back with the second half right after this. Okay, we are back here at East Brunswick High School, where the Bears are taking on Perth Amboy. The score 22-16, as you see. About ready to begin the third quarter of play. The Bears are led by John Burns with 5 points. John McLaughlin has 4, and Mike Wagenblast has 3. Eric Eckert has 4, and then Gaziella, Goloszewski, and Eddie each have 2. McGibney has 7. Yes, Megan.
Yeah, we see the Bears coming out again, sticking with their 1-3-1. I think McGibney, definitely, we should be looking for him in the second half. Not really that much of a offensive threat in the first half. So.
And Perth Amboy starting off this third quarter much the same way they have in the first half, and that's not connecting on their passes, throwing up wild shots. East Brunswick much more disciplined.
Perth Amboy looking to push the ball up the court. You have to figure they're going to be looking to keep the tempo of this game moving.
There's Bridgeport.
And again, another 4-shot.
Byrne wants to put it to the hoop.
Great job by John Byrne crossing over into the middle of the lane.
And East Brunswick with an 8-point margin. As we are in the third quarter with 7:14 left to go.
John Byrne really does a great job in this 1-3-1, trying to cut the court in half and trying to keep the ball from reversing.
McGibney won't go. Bounces around, however, into Bridgeforth's hands.
Tough bounce there by for the Bears, right back into the hands of Perth Amboy. Steve Nettie just couldn't really get a grasp on the ball.
And Wagenblast picks up his second foul. makes the first. And makes the second. He is 3 for 4 from the line. Amboy with that ever-present pressure. But East Brunswick does a good job getting it across and creates usually an offensive.
Gonna get called for the walk.
Wow, I didn't think that was a walk, did it? Well, maybe it was.
I think when he threw his fake, he kind of dragged his foot.
But more often than not, when East Brunswick is able to break that press, they get good opportunities on the other end of the court.
Definitely, they're
going to
get called for the backcourt because when he caught the ball, his foot was in the air, so that technically makes him in the front court. So when he put that foot down, he's going to get called for the backcourt violation. That's exactly where you don't want to catch the ball when the other team's pressing, right on that half-court line, because just turns into a problem.
Gaziella gets a shot. Nice soft touch.
And gets the roll that time. I think it's the first time the Bears have gotten the roll on a layup like that tonight.
Lead is back up to 8.
Looking to jump here, Mike Wagenbus and John Byrne.
Almost causes the turnover. Shot up, won't go.
Great job by the Bears that time. They got exactly what they wanted, a 4-step shot, and end up getting the ball. You see Perth Amboy trying to keep the ball out of Jimmy McCluskey's hands.
Well, that's okay with John Byrne. He's quite capable of bringing it across the court. Boy, I'll tell you what, Amboy's being rather physical, trying to push. Byrne won't go. However, East Brunswick crashes the boards.
And they're going to keep that ball. And that's one thing, when you're playing such aggressive defense, when you're coming up so high to put pressure on, you need to really hit the boards and aggressively go after those rebounds.
Gaziella, open look. Nettie. And they're going to call a hacking foul on Santiago. I think that's his third.
And the Bears really haven't been able to get a feel from the outside tonight. None of the players have really been hitting their three-pointers. But I think really the key is for them to get the ball inside.
Right. What do we got here?
It looks like Perth Amboy's going to get called for a foul.
Another foul by 25. Andrew Welsh picks up his second. Well, that's what Amboy's been doing. They've been pushing, when they get close to the defenders, and nice block. Eunice. It will not go. Followed up. Who wants it? Physical underneath. What do we got?
Mike Wagenbus fighting inside there for that rebound.
And it goes out of bounds off of Perth Amboy. It's a physical game. No doubt about that.
And Perth Amboy putting the full court pressure on, denying the inbounds to the guards.
East Brunswick really not having any trouble with this press. And Santiago goes off his fingertips out of bounds. Another turnover. They haven't had too much scoring in this quarter, third quarter of play. It is 26-18 East Brunswick.
See Steve Nettie looking right over the pressure.
That ball.
Jimmy McCluskey trying to save it.
It's hard to describe the action. The ball's just going out of people's hands off a defensive play, and it's been happening for both teams.
Definitely kind of like a haphazard quarter so far.
Yeah, it really is. McGibney, that was, if that wasn't a walk, I don't know what is.
Travel or a double dribble or something.
Nettie, he draws an offensive foul. Excuse me, he causes the offensive foul. Both teams sort of out of control now.
Definitely, East Brunswick needs to show some organization here, some discipline, slow down a little bit, get some good shots.
Much the same way they did it in that second quarter, where the passing was sharp. Look at Bridgeforth posting up against McCluskey.
McCluskey really does a great job on the bottom of that 1-3-1 zone, though, getting out to the corners.
Shot, rebound up, will not go. Pushed on that foul was Santiago, I believe.
The Bears not doing a great job right now of rebounding out of the zone. And we're going to see some subs come in for East Brunswick after this first shot, which I think is big because when they came in the first half, they really did a great job of finding the openings against Perth Amboy's zone, getting good shots, and just, you know, not forcing up things from the outside.
You got to figure Wagon Blast will be one of the players that sit here. He's got 3 fouls. Nettie will also leave, as Santiago makes the first shot. Misses the second. There's the ever dependable Eric Eckert with the rebound. East Brunswick moves it around. That's McCluskey inside to Eckert. Eric's got to get out of there. Byrne a little out of control. There's Gaziella, gets a look. And you're right, Megan.
Great hustle.
East Brunswick not getting its outside shots.
Great hustle right there to get that offensive board.
Why is John, he's just firing away. Well,
and really just like the ball kind of all over the place tonight for both teams. There's not really a lot of control out there. It seems like whichever way the ball bounces and whoever it goes to, that's just who ends up with it. Really kind of like a hectic game right now for both teams.
It is. Munoz was the one that fouled McLaughlin, who goes to the line. And John didn't look too comfortable on that shot. He will get a second and makes it. A lot better there. 27-19. We have 3:17 left to go in the third quarter of play.
See Perth Amboy moving the ball, swinging the ball around the outside perimeter.
Bridgeforth. Santiago puts it in.
That time, East Brunswick players just caught standing straight up, not in a good defensive stance.
They're going to call 5 seconds.
And right now, the Bears really, their lead dwindling. They've got a 6-point lead. Perth Amboy right now on a little bit of a run. Just kind of feels like almost just like a little momentum shift right there.
Absolutely. Only took a couple baskets to make this a game. So right away, Bohannon calls the timeout. Let's listen in.
What's taking us so long to get into a guard 1-2 exchange?
Well, I went to the ball. I had my hands like this.
Did you run the baseline after the basket? All right. Remember now, if you're playing this position, yeah, you got to move like a man-to-man. That kid's not going to shoot from the outside. He's going to try and drive, right? Getting the gaps, I think we got to dig at the ball with, no, not with you. You got to move your feet. Dig at the ball with those 2 guys.
They're putting
Okay?
3 guards, like one at the top and then...
All right, hey, listen, we're going man-to-man here. Going man-to-man. Let's get a couple stops here, all right? Let's run off our stops.
Well, you hear Henning say they're going to go to a man-to-man defense.
Yeah, I think right now they just seem like they were a little confused by the way Perth Amboy was setting up, so he's just going to take his team out of that defense and get him something else.
Lob pass.
Perth Amboy weaving around the perimeter.
McGibney penetrates. There's a nice rebound. Won't go. And, oh, they say it off East Brunswick. Okay.
Just neither team tonight really blocking out aggressively at all. And really just like whoever the ball goes to, rebounding-wise, that's who comes up with it.
Into Bridgeforth. Oh, he is edged out. They're going to call a foul.
Nice job by him to, you know, use the shot fake to create a shot. And really, he was the one who created that foul. McLaughlin almost was just going straight up, but Bridgeport went right into him.
So McLaughlin charged with his second foul, 4th team foul, as Bridgeforth will go to the line. Makes his first. And Amboy edging closer now. It's a 5-point margin. And it's 4 points. So that lead has been whittled down.
Really, overall tonight, neither team has really taken off offensively. Seems like, you know, this is a pretty low-scoring game.
Stolen. And
yeah, Eckert just got caught too close to half court there.
Yep.
Half court, once you go over, kind of access another defender.
2-point lead. What do they got?
John Byrne's going to get called for that push-off foul right there.
That's exactly. Nice sequence by McGivney, who's made 2 nice plays. And if it is that on John Byrne, it is his 3rd. So East Brunswick now in a little bit of foul trouble with Wagon Blast and John Byrne both having 3 fouls. We have 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. So this is an important juncture of this game.
And we're going to see the Bears go back to the 1-3-1. Eckert comes up with that steal.
And Eckert thought about it. There's Byrne shooting one more time. He has missed every time from the outside.
You know, Eckert doing a great job there right now, just trying to make a good decision, trying to get the ball to their scorer. Unfortunately, John Byrne couldn't put it down, but
I'm thinking that Johnny might want to give it a rest and, you know, pass off.
But you know what? When you're a shooter, you can't do that. Like, you can't stop shooting just because, you know, you miss a couple. You have to just keep your head in the game. You know, definitely not forcing up anything, but when you're wide open.
Well, I think that's what he's doing. I think he's forcing up shots. He's not giving it enough time to see if he has somebody else that might have a better look. So a miss there by Goloszewski. And he misses both.
The Bears are going to come up with that.
However, Goloszewski steals it back, and there's Eckert.
Still plenty of time. You want to get that ball out of there, get something set up.
Bounce pass stolen away.
It's a lot of turnovers this game for both teams.
A lot. And Amboy with a chance to tie or take the lead here. And that ball.
And another turnover.
Boy, I'll tell you what. Nice pass inside.
Excellent job.
Now that's what you want to see.
Jimmy McCluskey just really perfect pass right there, zipping the ball inside to the low block. Really only had a very small space to work with and made the perfect pass.
And Megan, that's the point that I'm trying to make. If you're shooting the ball too quickly, get the ball in the hands of somebody that might have a better look. Even if it's not a shot. You saw that razor pass by McCluskey inside, and then McLaughlin got a nice shot in, and East Brunswick now back to a 4-point lead. Could make it 5. And does. So with 1:09 left to go in the 3rd quarter, it's 30-25, East Brunswick. Santiago, kicked by Gaziella. Under a minute. McGivney.
Getting inside.
Wild shot that results almost in a turnover. Look at the. Wow, look at him storm the boards. It's really hard to describe this action.
It's like very hectic. It's very disorganized. Bears right now need to look to control. They've got about 30 seconds left in this quarter.
And they set up in almost kind of like a 4 corners.
They're going to look to bring Perth Amboy out away from the basket, try and get something easy on the inside once the time winds down.
Boy, they got to watch those.
Perth Amboy definitely over-aggressive, looking to get steals.
15 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. Almost stolen. McLaughlin has a look to the basket, misses the chippy.
Yeah, that is not the first layup that the Bears have missed tonight. Basically wide open layup.
Eckert, the late foul with 5 seconds left to go. Probably a good one because it's not, well, it'll be a 1-on-1 after this.
Both teams with 6 team fouls right now.
And East Brunswick will at least have a chance to set up its defense.
Gibbons going to look to push it up.
Has to take a wild shot. That finds the hoop. And that's happened a couple of times to East Brunswick this season, hasn't it?
Great job by McGibbon to push the ball up the court. get the wide open look at the basket for the three. Use the speed to create that shot.
So after 3 quarters of play, the score is 30-28 in favor of East Brunswick. We have 8 minutes left to go in this game. And let's listen in to Bo Henning, the coach.
All right. Jimmy, how you doing? You need one here? Let's give you one here anyhow. Johnny Burns in for you, okay? So, John, you'll play the bottom. Ski will be out top. Our ball coming in, Mark? All right, we're starting to do a lot better things offensively. Okay, starting to do a lot better things. Don't dribble with your head down. They're probably going to double, but it's going to be bad risks. See your teammates, meet your passes, turn and face, okay? All right, going to get the ball in here. Let's run invert off of this. Invert, okay? Run it strong, use your cuts tough, okay? Turn it over.
Right now we've got a 2-point game going into this 4th quarter. So it's really coming down to this 1 quarter. Perth Amboy doing a great job at 1 point down 12. Now they're back in this game. Really playing very aggressive man-to-man defense, looking for steals.
Around the perimeter we go.
East Brunswick running their motion offense.
And without McCluskey in the game, East Brunswick, yeah, there's a shuttle step by Goloszewski.
Definitely over anxious to make something happen right there.
So the Panthers once again with an opportunity to tie and go ahead.
And again, the Bears in a 1-3-1. Perth Amboy moving the ball around the outside.
Santiago to the middle. Tried to draw a foul. Nettie with the rebound. Gaziella. They were going to call it.
Had him wide open underneath the basket. He saw it, tried to force it down there.
I was watching the official. He was almost going to call traveling. Held his whistle. Gaziello, 3 points. No. Boy, East Brunswick can't buy a bucket from the outside.
Bears coming up with a rebound.
Burn. And it has been just a miserable outside shooting night for East Brunswick. You got to think just by the law of averages that some of these are going to go down pretty soon.
Definitely, and you know, they have to be confident. Like as a shooter, you have to think you're going to make your next one. You can't dwell on your misses. And I don't think that those are bad shots. They're wide open. Perth Amboy is going to go into the 1-on-1 situation now on that foul on the rebound.
It'll be Welch to the line with the 1-on-1. And he can tie this game for Perth Amboy. Makes the first.
And really from here on in, every foul is going to be a shooting foul. So we could see this game almost come down to foul shots in the end.
You're quite correct on that. And he makes the second. It is 30 all. 7 minutes to go in the game. Cross court.
Want to be careful where you stop here.
Wow, that was a risky pass. McCluskey back into the game for East Brunswick.
Looking to get his team set up. Great
There's
cut.
a nice pass inside. And Byrne sinks it and draws the foul.
That was really the first time that the Bears have been able to connect on one of those cuts to the basket with a good pass and then a finish. So that's a good sign for East Brunswick right now.
And that is the 7th team foul. So after this, well, both teams will be in the 1-on-1 situation now. Foul was charged to McGibney, his second. So the Bears can take that 3-point lead they had before. Johnny Byrne, as you had mentioned, Megan, is a rather dependable foul shooter. He's 3 for 3 from the line tonight. And these are important. 33-30, 6:40 left to go. This game was tied just before. Munoz from the corner. And East Brunswick quite willing to let him shoot.
Fortunately, he hasn't really turned on tonight. No one really has from the outside. Both teams have been very cold tonight from the outside.
Wagon Blast with the inside position on Santiago.
Mike Wagenblast doing a great job inside there, using his fakes, getting the easy two. Good strong move to the hoop.
And East Brunswick down out to a 5-point lead again. McGibney to Gums. Santiago wants to put it up. Strong to the boards.
Bears lucky that they came up with that rebound.
Yeah. Here comes Byrne. Yeah, fire away. There you go.
And there we go.
Johnny with his first outside shot connected in a long time. Gives East Brunswick a 7-point margin. Immediately, Perth Amboy has to call a timeout. And with 5:36 left to go in the game, East Brunswick now with a little bit of a lead. And let's see how Henning approaches this next sequence.
Hey, luckily Jimmy just made one hell of a hustle play down there because we were spectating again on the boards, right? Everybody, we can't run. You guys, all 5 of you guys got a defensive board. Maintain your block and then go get it, okay? Now, I think the open's going to give them a lot of trouble, okay? Doesn't look like they're going to react well, especially if you change sides of the court. But if they're switching screens, don't give me that as an excuse why we turn it over, okay? All right, you're probably going to need that 1-2 exchange to get into walk-up if that's what they're in. What I was trying to tell you guys is I think it might have been straight man. So when you catch it, just look it over, figure out are they clearing out with guys? Okay, and then we can get walk-up or the other. All right, any questions? We're in the bonuses. Both teams are in the bonus. Put the ball inside. Put it inside.
Megan, what does he mean by the open?
That's the name of one of the plays that they run, I think.
We're going to have trouble with the open. All righty. East Brunswick, nope. Really no pressure.
Right, exactly. They don't want to push the tempo of this game any faster right now. They've got a 7-point lead. They want to really slow it down. Want Perth Amboy to take some time to take their shots. They want to take some time to get a good shot.
Comes.
Looking for the skip pass.
Yep. To Gibney. And Bridgeforth puts it home. 37-32.
And we're going to see Perth Amboy come out and really try and push East Brunswick to force up a shot quickly.
Betty, long shot by Gaziella will not go. Eunice, back to McGibney. That was a walk that he got away with.
Again, rebounding is going to be very significant for the rest of this game, coming down with rebounds.
Byrne wants to go. There you go again. Now he's a streak shooter.
And now he's on from the outside. So
right. 2 3-pointers in a row by Jack Byrne. John Byrne, Jack Byrne. 40-32 with 4:21 left to go in the game. Gums. That will not go. McGibney. Oh, boy, Gums just nailed McCluskey and got away with it. That time he didn't.
Gums does not look happy right now. John Byrne's going to go to the line with a 1-on-1 opportunity.
Jimmy McCluskey, not that he can't handle this physical play, was just lambasted by Gums.
He's a pretty tough kid.
Yeah. So not the player you want on the line for East, rather if you're Perth Amboy. John Byrne, perfect with a 4 for 4. And he makes the first.
That's a huge shot for the Bears right now. Puts them up 9 points. And 1-on-1, you miss the front end and it's almost like a lost possession. So John Byrne stepping up big for the Bears.
10 points lead. It was 30-30 not a few minutes ago, and East Brunswick just streaked off 10 points here. Eunice, this is Torres in the game. Will not go.
Bears need to come down with these rebounds.
And it went off Bridgeforth. He last touched it, so the Bears will get the ball, as time will probably become a factor soon enough. It's under 4 minutes to play. East Brunswick with a 10-point lead. Bears can afford to be a little bit more deliberate instead of firing up shots from the outside.
They just really want to be careful about the spots where they have the ball. You want to keep the ball out of the corner, want to keep the ball away from the half-court line, because Perth Amboy is definitely looking to trap.
.331 to go in this contest. 42-32 East Brunswick. There goes Byrne.
And now he's on fire.
Makes it 45-32. That is the largest lead of the game. 13 points.
Really, John Byrne has just turned it on, and he's really made the difference right now, putting the Bears ahead.
Almost tapped away. And this game's starting to slip away for Perth Amboy. They were right in it about 4 minutes ago. The score was tied 30-30, and on the heels of John Byrne's outside shooting and foul shooting, have streaked to a 13-point lead here now.
Perth Amboy's got to look to make something happen right here if they want to make this game.
Well, McGibney and Muniz have been the more dependable outside shooters.
Great cut. Way to get inside.
Yeah, that was Muniz putting it home. 45-34, 11-point lead. That's who you want with the ball.
Just got to be careful about where he stops. Great look to the middle.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that pass by McGlusky gave an open look underneath, and they just could not convert.
It was a tough shot from Mike Wagenblast. Definitely, like, it was contested, but worked out even better for the Bears because they don't need the 2 points. They need the clock to run right now.
There's another great pass.
Good finish by Mike Wagenblast to square his shoulders to the backboard.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Jimmy McCluskey has played terrific tonight when he's been in there.
Definitely made some very key passes for the Bears, finding the open man.
That won't go. Gadziella with the rebound. And just about 2 minutes left to go in this game. And East Brunswick with its 13-point lead.
Bears going to hold the ball until they can find a wide open layup, and Perth Amboy obviously needs to make something happen, so we're going to see them looking to double a little bit here.
I'd get the ball in Byrne's hands if for no other reason than if he's fouled, you got somebody going to the line to make some real good foul shots here. There you go.
Yeah, and the refs are gonna allow a little bit of hand checking, but once the person gets by you, you have to get your hands off because otherwise it's like holding.
So John Byrne going to the line. Let's add up his points. He's got a lot in the last couple of minutes here.
Definitely turned it on in the fourth quarter. Really had a cold couple of cold in the first half, cold in the third quarter, and the fourth quarter's really turned it on. Doing great job on the foul line.
And I have him with 22 points to lead the scoring by far. And makes the foul shot. 8 for 8 from the charity stripe tonight for John Byrne. We've got a 49-34 lead, 15-point margin. That is the biggest lead of the game with 1:32 left. East Brunswick looks to be in a comfortable position here to win its 13th game on the season. McGibney wiggles his way in, and immediately John Mazurek will call a timeout. So it's kind of a tough situation for Perth Amboy.
Definitely right now, I mean, he's got to be talking to his team about what they can do in this final minute and a half of the game. You know, whether he wants to foul, whether he wants to just look for traps, see if they can get some steals. So I would say probably not foul, but definitely looking for some turnovers, down 13 points. You really don't want to put the other team at the line. You're going to have to go on quite a run to get back in the game.
Well, Mazurek was bemoaning the fact that his team did not score, and that proves to be the difference here tonight, as Amboy just cannot come up with points when they need to. Meanwhile, East Brunswick in this fourth quarter, primarily through John Byrne, has suddenly found the outside touch and has the lead that it does with the ball.
And we're definitely going to see some trapping here by Perth Amboy.
What do they say? Well, they point towards...
Yeah, I think he pointed the wrong way.
Okay.
Still the Bears' ball. It went out of bounds off Perth. Looking to go right over. It's going to be tough because Perth Amboy's got some athletic players.
Yeah, and that's what happened. Eunice is going to go from a three-point range. Won't go. Got to make them. McCluskey, cross court.
And we see the Bears trying to get the ball in the hands of John Byrne since he's been so consistent from the line tonight.
Under a minute to play in this contest. Amboy rather desperate. Well, they're going to have to foul now. Won't go. McCluskey almost pushes it home. Eunice, nice little move. And again, Amboy calls a timeout. Score 49-38.
Perth Amboy, putting on the pressure defense, looking for the steals. It's really all they can do right now. Down 11 points, trying to just stay in this game with only 30 seconds left. That would be quite a feat to come back.
Well, according to this schedule, there's only 3 regular season games left for East Brunswick as they look forward to the Greater Middlesex Conference Tournament in about another 2 weeks. But upcoming next week is St. Joe's. They're going to have to be at St. Joe's. That's going to be a tough game.
Definitely a big game for the Bears going in, losing to St. Joe's last time at home. They really want to go to Metuchen and get a win.
And then followed by J.P. Stevens, a home contest, and then finally a home game on February 11th against Southern Regional. Don't know too much about them.
But like you said, the season really winding down for the Bears. With only 3 games left.
Eckert in the game. And here's Ragland, who's made his first appearance of the night. And they're going to call, what are they calling here?
He stepped on the sideline, and right there you see Perth Amboy doing a good job of using the sideline and using half court all night to create the traps that they've been making, kind of running and jumping.
Well, they're going to have to heave them up fast and long. Won't go. Eric dives for the rebound, but it goes out of bounds. So all the starters out for East Brunswick.
And this game was really turned around tonight when John Byrne really turned it on in the fourth quarter. Went into the fourth quarter, the Bears were up 2, but Perth Amboy tied up the score, and John Byrne really took over offensively like we didn't see him do all night. Like he hit his shots from the outside. He was 8 for 8 from the foul line, like you were saying, and he really just stepped up big for the Bears.
He really came through. I mean, he had that tough stretch where nothing was falling, and all of a sudden, bang, bang, bang. And that was the impetus for East Brunswick as they win this game 49-38 over Perth Amboy. The Bears now move to 13-6, while Perth Amboy falls to 5-13. So, Megan, nice effort by John Byrne, and you got to think that going up against St. Joe's, which is probably a better quality opponent, you're going to have to see all these aspects of East Brunswick's game come together for them to have an opportunity to beat St. Joe's.
Certainly, they're going to need to play very good defense against St. Joe's. St. Joe's has a lot of offensive threats. They need to play great post defense, and that's really the difference between a St. Joe's team and like Perth Amboy is really the inside. Their post game is so much stronger than like a Perth Amboy team. So the Bears, again, not with a lot of great height or a lot of great size, do have good, solid inside players that are very smart. So they're really going to need to play great defense against St. Joe's, and really, like we saw them tonight when they were playing well offensively, they need to put that together for a whole game, and definitely they have an opportunity to get a win against the Falcons.
Okay, so John Byrne, leading scorer here tonight with 23 points to lead East Brunswick to a 49-38 win over Perth Amboy. That's going to do it tonight here at East Brunswick High School. For Megan O'Neill, this is Jimmy Allinder saying thanks for being with us.